Okay, so welcome everyone to the November Nutrition Coordinators meeting. Thank you so much for joining me here today before we go on our break. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some items here in the first part, go around the room and just kind of see where people are at and what's going on in your area, and if you have anything to report. If not, we'll move on to the second items. And I did receive some requests to talk about some intake forms and some other questions from Northeast. And so, Kayla, thank you so much for uh, joining us today. We can go over any questions you have. Um, Also, I did have some questions from, and Allison's on the phone here too. She had some questions on some take-home food policies. We can review that as well. I did want to remind people to also send in your Title 3D program spreadsheets if you haven't already. Those are the spreadsheets that I sent out that were basically the spreadsheets that included what you're currently doing right now for your Title 3D programming. We're going to put that together with public health and then put that together in a big list. So if you haven't sent that in, be sure to do that. And if you have more questions, please contact me and I can walk you through it. Just give your best knowledge of what you're doing right now. Even if you're contracting, send that information in, and we can go from there. And then the last bit is I do want to just share my screen and talk to you about a program called Walk to Unlock, which is a really neat walking program. It's free, and walk you through that. So, all right, we'll go ahead and get started around the room. So let's go ahead and I believe, Kayla, do you want to go ahead and give us an update on Northeast?
Not much has been happening like new wise at our senior centers. We just were able to give out the most of our remaining of our ARPA dollars, our 3B and C ARPA dollars to our senior centers. So we used our ARPA dollars to reimburse the senior centers a little over $3 for home delivered meals they've done between July and September, and around $1.50 for all their congregate meals they've done through July and September. So and then they also got a flat dollar amount of 3B money for the centers that have 3B services. So um,
Very nice.
that helps out there because I know some of them are struggling financially. Other than that, I noticed our meal numbers are down this past fiscal year, so we're looking into that a little bit, seeing what the reasons why and addressing those. Do you want me to ask my questions now about the intake form and stuff, Eric, or do you want me to wait till everyone's done?
We'll put that on the next bullet point after we go around. But no, yeah, those are great questions, and we'll put that next. But yeah, great supplement with the meals and things like that with Art for Money. That's awesome. Great news to hear. And yeah, fluctuations in meal numbers is just
Yeah,
gonna be one of those things that happens, and trying to kind of figure out why. So
both our congregate and home delivered are down
yeah,
this past federal fiscal year.
gotcha. Well, very good. Well, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for Kayla at Northeast? All right, thank you so much. If you want, let's move on then to, oh, I see Allison's here from NOA. Do you want to go ahead and fill us in on what's going on in the East? I think you may be on mute. All right, that's okay, Allison. We'll come back to you. Rachel, do you want to go ahead and fill us in on Midland?
We just got done with our monitoring visit and are just kind of working on doing some deeper assessments with home delivered meals because our numbers are through the roof as far as home delivered meal goes. We were a lot more lenient throughout COVID, and so now it's kind of dwindling down the most important versus, ones that could possibly come into the senior centers. And so just doing a lot of reassessing and all those good things. And that's it.
Very good. Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. And yeah, continued success with bingo size. That looks really good. Yeah, very good. We just saw you. We just saw you last week. So yeah, very good. Any questions for Rachel? All right, Allison, are you ready? I see her on here, but she's not. I also see Trish on here. Maybe they're having technical difficulties. If not, we'll move on to Devin, Aging Partners. What's going on? Oh, and Devin, I think you might be on mute as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
We did our Thanksgiving all center meal, and that was on the 15th, and we had 330 meals.
Wow.
And so, by far, Victory Park, they had 87 people, so that was a huge number. Let's see. I've went out to Milford twice and done a presentations. I'll be going out to Milford on December 5th. And Jill stopped by with the baby yesterday, and she's
Good.
coming back on Monday, the 27th.
Wow.
So she'll be
That was
back.
fast.
Yes, it went
Wow.
fast. So yeah,
That went
it's kind
so
of all
fast.
for an aging partner. So
Well, good. Well, very good. Well, Devin, you've been great filling in and keep joining us and that's been absolutely wonderful. So
yeah,
very good. That's great, man. Hey, good to hear. Glad you had good numbers at Victory Park. That's a
yeah,
lot of people. That's pretty much capacity, I think, for the dining room there.
yes, yes,
My
yes. And I would love
goodness.
to continue to sit in on these. So like, hopefully,
Of
that's
course.
something that Jill and I can do. So
Sure. Yeah, we'd love to have you. I think that'd be great. It's just good to get all the information from, different places and even more than one person in an agency. That's really important.
yeah,
So we definitely enjoy that. So, well, great. Um, any questions for Devin? All right. Thank you so much. I see. Okay. So looks like, hey, Alston, what's going on?
Your computer doesn't work.
Okay. That's okay. Well, I figured there was something technical going on. You weren't just like, I'm not going to talk.
No. Our numbers are still staying strong. We just actually rolled out digital or tablet forms to our centers where we entered a QR code that they can fill out some of the forms that we have. And then it comes straight to the office in an Excel file. They don't have paperwork that they have to send in. And then at the end of the week, we just pull the spreadsheet down and send it back to them. Some of the fact that they didn't router to get wireless.
Oop, Alston, you're cutting out there a little bit.
Okay, working with technical difficulties with some that don't have routers. But we are still in the, I think, 9th week of our bingo size in
Oh,
our
good.
3 locations. And then, of course, I passed along that question to that we can talk about later.
Yeah, very good. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, you guys were having some sound issues. It was like going really soft and then getting loud and then cutting out and soft and stuff. But no, I think we got the end of that. So yeah, you guys are doing bingo size still, and that's still doing good, and that's really good.
Yep.
Awesome.
And right now we're on our holiday meals where we have a pantry for families that sign up that meet the requirements. So I think we did 35 meals for Thanksgiving, full turkey dinner meals. And then we'll do it again at Christmas time too.
Awesome. Very good. Hey, that's great. Yep, 'tis the season. Yeah, very good. Any questions for Allison and Noah? And
Allison, I would like some more information on that tablet intake that you're talking about with the QR code. That sounds very intriguing.
Sure. If you use Microsoft 360 and the ability to do forms.
oh, you're cutting out a little bit. Hold on. Start again. It cuts out.
If you have Microsoft 360,
Okay.
you can use the forms program.
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
Okay.
but I can send that out.
And they use tablets to do that?
They can use tablets or it's a QR code, so you could use your smartphone.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
that's awesome. Very cool.
A lot of them really, 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 really easy.
Hey, that's really good to know. Great information. Awesome, Allison. Thank you so much. Anybody have any other questions for Allison at NOA? Caitlin did email me. I think she took off early. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll record this for her. So, very good. Thank you so much. Let's see here. How about Samantha at Aon? What's happening?
Hi. I don't know why I cannot get my camera to work, but
That's right.
nothing new since the last time here, really. I feel like this month has just blown by, honestly. Um, yeah, nothing. I'm getting ready to do some serve safe, so that's exciting because I have not had a chance to do that. So Cheryl put that on our agenda. But honestly, aside from that, we had our Thanksgiving. All of our sites do their Thanksgiving meal the Thursday before, so last Thursday. We had good turnouts everywhere. That's always a big one. Like the Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. They're big turnouts. So those were successful. Um, I feel like I'm constantly putting in new like meal referrals for people. So I'm pretty sure our numbers, I haven't looked at them for this month, but they have been increasing. To go is still going strong. We really like that option. It works well for us. Um, yeah, everything seems to be going well. Just trucking right along.
Very good. Awesome, Samantha. Thank you so much. Any questions? Any questions for Aon? Thank you again so much. And then I have a 308 number.
That would be Sue.
Oh, hey,
I'm
Sue.
driving
Oh,
on my, so anyhow, been busy trying to get out and visit the centers. I am doing a blood pressure class
mm-hmm.
in Ravenna, and
Oh, great.
that's not too many attendants, but good for what we do have. And then we did enter into another agreement with the Heart Association to do 2 more blood pressure hubs. So we will be doing that for Sherman County, which is Loop City, and also Harlan County, which is Alma Senior Center. So that we're excited for that. Did
Hey,
you hear anything, or did I cut out?
I think you rejumped, but no, you're just fine. I can hear you just fine. That works.
Okay.
And we, and
All
actually,
right. Okay, go ahead.
oh, you're good. And actually, I had a meeting with Amy Roberts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's so nice.
Yeah, she was really good. And and it's great that you mentioned that because we talked about the concept of the blood pressure hub, and I thought it was such a good idea. So I have some information on it. And I talked with her we did a Zoom call and discussed kind of what you guys have been doing in your area. And basically she talked about the concept of having basically having a blood pressure cuff at a center and having resources in each center where individuals could come in and do their blood pressure and have that done whenever they want, really. I mean, that's kind of what the hub is, whether it's a
That's
machine. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So you guys have done a really good job with getting that going, and I think that's kind of like, kind of your guys's big, contribution and sort of standard. I think that could be really uh, followed or replicated in different areas across the state.
I think
Because
so too. We did
yeah,
I did tell her I told the Heart Association that, they wanted to enter into an agreement, and I, big bold, I just said we had to have more money because, we
yeah,
wanted to have the same type of blood pressure machine that they can put their arm in, sit down, and then they get a
mm-hmm,
printout, where we didn't have enough money for Ravenna. So I
right,
think maybe down the road, if that could, if there are dollars available, maybe we'll take Ravanna's machine and you have it available at the office and use it, then get them a nicer one. But, the thing is, they don't, they have to have help with that. And,
Yeah.
I think they'll do once a month in Ravanna, the blood pressure. People will put them on it, because that's not easy. But anyway, it's just been a very, very good program. And I think I did mention I did speak for the Go Red for Women. I was invited for that. And then I was also in Central City for the Bryan Health Systems and talked about the blood pressure hub as well. That was an invitation that was sent out by, I guess, the health systems or something. I don't remember anymore. But just all that little stuff. But it went very well, and it speaks well for the agency and just the whole state. That we're having this opportunity. So I'm hoping that it'll continue on, and I think it will.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's a great model. And basically, if for those who are not sure or not in tune to what this is, basically it's a place where you have a measuring device, you have a blood pressure cuff or an automatic one, where individuals can come into like a senior center or a community center, and it's a hub. So there's resources and there's also a way to measure their blood pressure, and they can come in as many times as they want, basically, and measure their blood pressure. So it's a nice resource instead of just having like a one-time clinic. It's basically a static, resource for individuals.
And
And
people
that's
come in, like you say, people do come in just to get their blood pressure checked. And
yeah.
then, and then we did promotions. Of course, we did all those nice signs about, about the blood pressure and then what the ranges are, and had those framed and laminated. And then we had table tents done, for the tables, and then our centers put those in their it's on their Facebook page and also their newsletters, and the community knows too. We do as much publicity as we can, but in our rural communities, people know everything. So but it's worked out very well. You have to have a validated device, and we do have some centers that, like Franklin and Holdridge, that they were given their old blood pressure, hubs that were from pharmacies, but I'm sure they're not validated. But we'll have to work on something with that later. But it's just been, I really have to say, it's been a wonderful project for South Central and for the people.
Yeah,
that's
it's been really.
That's been about it for us. Just trying to get out and about, and it's, my God, it's 66 degrees here in Kearney. I just came into town, so it's a beautiful, beautiful day.
It's not gonna last. It's gonna keep cooling down.
No.
But well, that's great. So great work with that. Good job on that and championing that program. That's something I could see that would really benefit the rest of the state. Yeah, I think that's awesome. So very good.
If anyone needs any, forms and say, we just, like I say, when the worst is the first time, finding out exactly what they want, getting it done. And then, we do type up all the medical facilities if somebody doesn't have a doctor. And, majority, everybody has a doctor usually. But I did call when we did that, list. I did send a letter to each facility telling them that they were named in our blood hub as a source that they could, and that was why, due to this grant that we received from the American Association, so it
That's
was
awesome.
just to let them know. But it's just been, a really nice project. I've been real pleased that it's been, it's a silent killer. You have to get it checked, and it's amazing just how many people do have high blood pressure that don't know it.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, that's really good. I'm glad the program's doing well, and yeah, we'll probably get more information about it later. So, well, very good.
Okay, well,
Awesome.
nothing else, just happy holidays to everybody,
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, safe travels and everything. Thank you so much, Sue. Really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
thank you again, yes, for championing that program. Any other questions for South Central? All right, let's move on to, I see Carmen is here from Blue Rivers. Let's move on to Carmen. Maybe. Carmen, are you available? All right. If not, that's fine. We can always come back to you, Carmen, too, later. So I think we've gone through every area agency that's available here, I believe. Yes, I believe we've gone through everybody who is here today. So with that being said, we'll kind of end our round robin here, and we'll go on to two things that we wanted to mention, and got some questions from Northeast and some also from Enowa, and I see. Okay, yeah. So Allison's still there. Okay, so we'll start with Kayla. We'll go ahead and start with some of your questions you had, and then we'll go to Allison, and then I will present to you at the end. I will present to you at the end some stuff on the walk to unlock.
Okay, so our question that we have is we're having difficulty with senior centers sending in intake forms on time. And so I was reading through the regulations, and it says that the initial determination of eligibility for home delivered meals must be by in person or by telephone, and then a written assessment done within 2 weeks. Do you, Eric, I guess, do you see that written assessment being the home delivered meal assessment and the intake form? Or do you just see that as being just a home delivered meal assessment?
Okay, so and this is from, you're reading this from the regs.
Yep, from the state regs.
Oh boy, we got a echo here. There we go. All right, hold on. Let's see here. All right, so okay, so under home delivered meals, including nutrition related supported services within 2 weeks of the individual's first meal service, and referrals made as necessary. Provide reassessment of need determined by the area agency annually or with a change in status. So basically, the complete initial determination by person or by phone. So that can be done, you know, obviously if someone calls in and they say, I can't leave my house, you know, I need to have home delivered meals, and then that initial determination can be done. And then the written assessment, whether, you know, that's the, if you're talking about that intake, so you're whether when you're wanting to know whether the assessment is part of the intake and whether that's due within the 2 weeks. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that's probably fair to say, because we make sure we initially want to know, you know, the intake is going to include congregate people, right? But that determinations made by you, the AAA, is going to be the home delivered meal eligibility, really. You know, you have to be 60, and obviously that's OAA standards to be eligible for a home delivered meal. The way that we do it here in Nebraska is that basically we leave it to the area agencies on aging to be the sort of face-to-face determination for eligibility, okay? And so when we think about, you know, priority of service, and we think about individuals that need to be served on that list of, well, prioritization, yeah, having that determination done within 2 weeks is the same as turning in an assessment, or sorry, an intake.
Yep.
So it's part of it, really. I mean, if you think about having an intake form and then having a home delivered intake form and then a congregate intake form, your home delivered is going to have sort of like that supplemental eligibility portion that's going to go through more of an in-depth range of, you know, questions, or it could ask anything like, do you need extra services? Is there anything else, you know, that you can't prepare meals for yourself? You know, you're having trouble acquiring food, you don't have enough money to buy food. You're not going to ask necessarily the congregate meal person all of those questions to require them to have a congregate meal, obviously. Home delivered meal person, though, is going to say, you know, I'm unable to prepare my own meals. I can't go shopping, and I don't have enough money to buy food. You know, these are my limitations, and that puts me on that high priority list to get a home delivered meal and to really even just be appropriate for one, especially, you know. And I think that's one of the things that we talked about over time when we talk about service prioritization. your priority of receiving a home delivered meal, especially in a town that can only serve so many individuals. If you have 20 people, that are 60, they're asking for a home delivered meal, and you also have a senior center, but 7 of them are driving around town and can do that. Well, that definitely tells you that probably about 13 of them are the ones that can still come into the center or whatever, or sorry, the other half would be the ones that can still come into the center. um, so yeah, I think it comes down to that determination and service prioritization. But I would definitely say that the home delivered meal assessment and intake would be one and the same.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry that's a long-winded
Oh.
response, but I wanted to try to cover all the bases.
Do you guys put a lot of weight into guest meals and home delivered? I mean, when we enter those into Pure Place?
Oh, like for like give me an example, like
So when we don't have an intake in yet from a senior center, but we have them log like 8 or 9 meals, and those usually go just under guests because we don't have the information yet.
right.
Is there a
Um,
lot of, I guess, is there any repercussions for having a lot of those guest meals?
like if you're like, well, that's the thing is if it's probably 1 or 2 or 3, that's fine compared to having a lot. If you're having a large list of guest meals, that's a little different. I mean, I guess it's about volume, because what it's going to show with SPR is it's like, well, where are all these guest meals coming from? And then all of a sudden, then they're home delivered. But at the same time, if you don't have the data too, that makes it hard as well. It's not a perfect system,
Yeah, no, same thing.
it's not super perfect, but once they're home delivered meal, once they're a recipient of home delivered meals, they're gonna have way more of those meals, for a year or so, as opposed to that short time when they're a guest. So I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal overall. So, but no, that's a good question. And as far as intake forms go, um, you know, as the state, our basically our philosophy is kind of like, you guys use the intake forms that suit you. We have our sample model one out there, and I think I attached that to the invite for the meeting. So I think that's out there. It's also on our website too as well. And there's intake template. There's the determine questions pathway as well. There's also different guides on quick guide prioritizing. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I sent on that, OAA basics, quick tips, etc. So if you have questions, feel free to use any of those PDFs and Word documents that I attached to the calendar invite as well. But yeah, I mean, overall big picture, we're still kind of coming out of some of those COVID home delivered meals, where individuals had been receiving a lot of home delivered meals. But we're still, we're kind of coming out of some of that where, if individuals are, more suited to go to a congregate site, encouraging them to go to that site is the best way to not only get out of their house, but also, receive socialization and a good meal. So. And then also prioritization. I mean, really, when it comes down to, you only have so many volunteers, you only have so many staff, you can only serve so many people to be sustainable. So sustainability is another pillar.
I think
All
that's
right.
all. Yeah, I think that's all I had.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Oh, those are great questions. Great questions. Does anybody have any other questions for Kayla or anything they could think of? Awesome. Angie, I see you joined. Thank you so much. Is everything going okay at West Central?
Yes.
Very good.
Yep. I don't know if I'm on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yep, it's going good. Going good. Busy with the ship and everything. I apologize I'm late. I thought I
No,
could
you're
get this
fine.
appointment over with, and I had a double instead of a single. So it took me took a little longer.
That's okay. Well, it's good to see you. So, very good. Awesome. Well, very good. Okay, let's move on then to Allison. Would you want to go ahead and ask some questions that you had? I think you're still yep, you're still here.
Sure. Hopefully I don't go in and out. Um,
We can hear you.
okay. Question is, we have in several of our centers different times where participants ask over and over about the guidelines about taking leftover food. And when I was going through some information that was on the OAA website and on another site recommended to me to get ready for our audit and visit, and found two different forms that said that it is a myth that seniors can take leftovers. And as long as we're properly,
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit more.
okay,
Okay, hold on. It goes down. It comes in waves. It's like comes in waves, like loud, and then it goes soft again. All right, try again.
not moving, so
Okay.
so
Allison, do you want to try to come into my office?
The same thing happens with Caitlin's microphone too, I've noticed.
I know. We're getting new computers in January that will get rid of all of these old crappy COVID cameras and microphones.
It's okay. It's nothing you can help. It's just a thing. It's like I hear you and then I lose you. I'm like, oh, what's going on?
okay. Well, I'm just on the other side of the wall of Trish, so I don't know how it can get any better.
Let me go grab her. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Why don't you try mine? No, it wasn't any better.
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yes, that's much better. Oh, thank goodness. Yes.
Okay. So, but the point that was in a lot of the paperwork was that as long as we're informing them of the proper handling procedures when they take the food out, not that they're taking like like their own plate leftovers. And so I just kind of, in looking at it, wondered, if we right now with our grab and goes put labels on them that explicitly tell them that they have to either store it in the refrigerator or they have to eat it within an hour or reheat it to 130 or 165 degrees, and then it states that you have to throw it away in 3 days from the day that you got it. If we were to start putting that on when they take leftovers, or or do we just like where is it? Because if there's information saying that they can take leftovers, but yet the state is no leftovers, when some of the federal information says you can take leftovers, where is everybody with that?
All right. Well, first of all, that is a good question, and that has been an old question that we've had for a long time. And I think that there's several factors here. Number one, they can take. I'll tell you our stance on it, and then I'll tell you where we're maybe going with it. So it's always kind of been our stance that individuals can take home things that are sealed, so if they hadn't opened like something, they can take it home, and then also shelf stable things they can take home or whatever and wrap it up and take it home. Their reason, we had come up with our state regulations in 2019, and then they were signed by the governor in 2020. And they included a potentially hazardous food item, and that was number 11. allowance and procedures. Each area agency on aging operating a meal site must allow individuals to take away foods that are not potentially hazardous. Centers should have a visible sign that discourages the removal of potentially hazardous foods located at the meal site. Potentially hazardous foods are defined by Nebraska Food Code. Now that's all we say. Okay. Now, um, if you are if you're an attorney and you look at regulations, you basically say, okay, what can I not do? You know, what is it saying on here that I cannot do? Well, it doesn't say on here that you can't do anything. It just says on the regulations that um, uh, must allow individuals to take away foods and then have a visible sign that discourages the removal of potentially hazardous foods. It says discourages. So it's not like they're sitting there and saying, you know, you can't leave the site and slapping the food out of your hands. You can't, you know, tell people, especially who are 60 plus, that they can't do something. That's not going to happen.
Right. Well,
And so we don't discourage that. Everybody has to have their own autonomy and their own way of doing things. So people are going to take home food, and we recognize that. Um, I think that's one of the things that's kind of been it's one of those policies, and I'm guessing maybe in the future it may change with the program instruction or something like that. But this was put in place to sort of say to allow protection to the center because we recognize that the individuals who they serve were a kind of a vulnerable population, and if individuals had taken home that chicken or that salad or something and left it out and then ate it and got sick, they didn't want to have the center be responsible for something that they served and then later
sure.
was, you know, so that's why that's the history kind of behind that. Now it doesn't say that thou shalt not, you know, that shall not take home food and, you know, and will not be readmitted if they do, you know. So there's no punishment attached to it. It's rather it's somewhat of an insurance policy saying that they discourage it, you know. So that's
But
kind of what,
even
yeah.
if we discourage it and someone takes it home and gets sick, we're still liable for it.
Well, that's the
So
thing. Well, the thing about it is if that does happen, you know, you'll be able to look at a policy and say, look, we discouraged it. Um, you know, someone could take home cleaning supplies from the center and, you know, get sick from that too. I mean, there's only so much you can do. But what's in your control is what you can at least post or say or whatever. And that's why we had that in place.
sure. And
Um,
that's why I asked if we
yeah.
had, I mean, if we did provide a label that gave them instruction, because if they buy a burger at McDonald's and take half of it home,
Right.
there's no instructions on there and they could get sick. But
Right.
if we gave them, you know, the education on it, you know, because if they can take sealed products home and you let them take a sealed milk, well, that's potentially hazardous. So then you can't let them take the sealed milk, which is stated that they can take the sealed milk. So
So, the way that I explain it to people, and we have some kind of proper heating instructions just posted on the wall, and then on the wall it says that we recommend that as an agency, we recommend that you do not take leftovers from the center. And we do not provide any containers for them to do so. Because I feel like if we provide the to-go containers, if they sat there for 45 minutes and they have a 20-minute drive home, well, they're already past their hour and things like that. So you can't ensure any of those things once it leaves you. But when I first started, we had people literally tucking food up their sleeves to sneak it out of the center. With gravy dripping down their hands. And I mean, it was odd. So we don't, um, promote it. You know, we're not saying here's a container, take your leftovers. You know, if they leave with them, that's their choice. We've explained the concerns with it, but then it's on them.
Yeah, I'm not thinking, I wasn't even considering getting or providing any containers. I just was like, if we provided you know, a label or a card that gave them the information on what they should properly do. Um, yeah, well, actually, no. According to the health department, if we label it that says it's supposed to be thrown away in X amount of days and we provide who made it, how they got it, we actually are putting and we labeled it, goes into their, and they get sick from however they take care of it. We've already done our due diligence and we've already given that. So if we put that label on there, then, and I only know this because of a issue that happened within the hospitals at Methodist when a catering incident got sick. But if we properly label it and give it to them, then the legal issue is on them, no longer on us, because we've told them and they've taken home a printed document that says what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah, this situation can get tricky. Because if everybody just follows it and there's no incident, that's fine, you know. And then, but it's those times that something does happen, and I don't know.
Well, and I mean, and I'm fine continuing how we are, but if you have those people that, you know, we're not going to like become the food Nazis and shake them down
Well,
at the door. But
no.
if
That's
we offered them, if we said, okay, well, if you're going to take this, here is your information, is that allowable or doable?
Well, I think it's not. I don't think anything like information that you would give to anybody. If let's see here. Okay, let's put it this way. So you can always give someone basic information on how to reheat food. That's you could do that for anything. Okay. Um, I guess the question that I have is if you tie it to the meal, that's what I'm a little concerned. That's what I don't know the question fully on yet. And this is a great question too, Allison, by the way. I think this is a wonderful topic because you know, I'm torn because I obviously we have regulations that we want to follow and we want to maintain, and I can't change them overnight. Um, but there's also ways to also maintain an individual's dignity, and that's important too. Um, and I think that maybe there's some resources I can explore on this topic a little bit too to see how other places are doing it. Um, I may
You see
contact,
the
yeah,
two forms? I mean,
yeah.
where does that information come from? I mean,
Oh, the forms that came from ACL.
and the one from the OAA.
Right. And each state can have their own regulations as well. I mean, you have OAA, but you can also and that's when we did the research for our regulations and we talked to ACL, we tried to fill in the cracks for some of those things, and that's why that kind of came about. Like I said, they can take the food home. You're discouraging them that, you know, if it's potentially hazardous, maybe it's best to leave it, especially if they don't have a proper means of heating it up at home. They're just going to take it home and set it on the counter and eat it later that night. Um, you know, that'd be a case where you would want to discourage them to do so. Um, you know, just an example of that. So,
Maybe just some regular education about properly storing leftovers and properly reheating foods instead of making it meal specific, just making it general knowledge. You know, you could hand out papers on that on a regular, you know, distribution schedule, even just as a reminder. And that way you have proof here. We've been educating them, you know, we've given them all the tools. And if they choose to leave it in their windshield while they shop at Walmart for 3 hours, we can't prevent that.
right. Yeah, it's, you know, that time temperature abuse, like in the summer months when it's 110 degrees out and that food's sitting in the back of the car and then they forget about it and then it gets eaten later. Yeah, that's
Ooh.
exactly what you don't want. But I think that there's a happy medium in here somewhere. Like I said, looking at the regulations here, it says that um, having a sign visible that discourages the removal is still important. You could even say this. I believe you could even say this with the regulations. Um, Looking at these, you could say, we discourage we discourage taking home or removal of potentially hazardous foods located at the meal site. Potentially hazardous foods are defined by Nebraska Food Code, and you could even list those. And then if you did say, you could even in one breath say, for the protection of yourself, reheating instructions or something like that. That in itself doesn't say don't take them home, but since we're discouraging it, we're not forcibly telling you can't take it. We're not sitting here and saying you take it, you take that piece of chicken home, you're never coming back. You can't say that. So just like you're telling somebody, please don't touch that hot stove, but if you do, here's how to treat a burn. you know, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm all for what we have the regulations right now. I'm just saying if
Right.
you have somebody that's, running out the door, I mean, can you be like, okay, well, here's the information, we still obviously do this. Um,
So you're looking for a piece of information that you can give them. Is that correct?
well, I just took the label like we make for our grab and goes that have all
Hmm.
the information on it because even
Right.
with a grab and go, you don't know if they're going to take it and put it in their car and eat it right away. So
Right.
we already have that label made, and that's why I had forwarded it to you because I was like, this is already done.
Right.
We're not creating the wheel, but if you had somebody that's, walking out, say, go, well, this is what our guidelines are, but let me give you some information, slap it on whatever they've taken and cover the bases and do
Yeah.
the same thing. I mean, you're educating, you're following, you're not, pummeling them, but you are giving them something to take home that's attached to what they've taken.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. But like, and that's the thing is like, are you providing them with to-go containers at that
No,
point?
I wouldn't provide them with
Okay.
to-go containers, but if someone was to take their paper plate and they put a napkin over it, you could still put a sticker on top of the napkin.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, any information's good. I'm not gonna knock any, educational information about about anything like that. I think any information's good. Um, I guess you know what, bottom line is, if you want to inform an individual about, reheating instructions on general purposes, I think that's good. It's good to know anyways. It's good to know, especially Thanksgiving, on how to reheat your food. That's important. Uh, I guess bottom line right now, my response would be, as long as you are following like the regulations where it says you have a visible sign that discourages the removal of potentially hazardous foods located at the meal site, um, as long as you have the sign available, and that's what we put in the regulations, that's basically what we can hold them to. Discouraging them not to do that is a good thing. People are going to people. And so I suppose if you wanted to do something to educate them and help them out in that way, that'd be good too. Um, I will continue to look at this topic and look at other states and see what some of their practices are as well. Other places do different things. It would get costly, obviously, if this was completely, reversed and like, yeah, take it home, and you didn't, everybody was expecting, to go boxes and things like that, that could get really expensive. And
Well, right now we just have a few of our smaller rural centers that use
Mhm.
the paper and foam plates that
Right.
uh, they and all of them that I've ever spoken to all have, the cognizance to take care of it correctly. But
Right.
we have lost at least 5 to 10 participants because they refuse to come back because they've been told they can't.
Okay.
And I would rather have a participant take it with them, inform them of the information, and not have a fight like has broken out than to, I mean,
Yeah, we don't
I'm
want
not going to
that.
go around and give everybody labels. I mean, that's not what my point is.
Right.
The point is, and we wouldn't be, oh, go ahead and take your food. It's when you get in the situation when someone's going to take it with whether you say yes or no, then to give the information, but not
Okay.
to promote it from the, not to promote it from the get-go, but
Right.
to provide when it occurs, rather
Right.
than the fights that have occurred in the past.
Well, yeah, we don't want to fight because that can don't want that.
No.
Okay. So basically you're just saying we want to provide them with information on how to be safe. Bottom line.
Yes.
Okay. I think that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I think that's fine. As follow as and just continue to follow the regulations that we have in here, for the discouragement with a sign, and you can say, please don't, please stop, don't stop, uh, Willy Wonka, please stop. Oh no, don't. But that's they're gonna do what they're gonna do. People are gonna do what they're gonna do, and that's fine. But yeah, providing with that extra information, I think is good anyways. I'm not gonna say no to that. I don't think anybody would say no to that. So, um, yeah. Well, I will continue, and this is a great question, Allison. I'm so glad that you brought this up. And I will continue to look at other things. And I'm sure when we look at, revising policies and stuff like that, that this will definitely be one thing that we look at. We'll try to match with what other states are doing, so that we can even be, more progressive and even more accommodating and mind other people's dignity and whatnot when it comes down to that. That policy, I would definitely will say for the regulations, was something that was put in place even before I got here. That was something that was told when I even came to the state, that it was kind of a strict thing. Now we know that a lot of individuals still like to do that, and even more information like you found with those ACL documents, where it's putting more flexibilities in the program, and we want to see more people coming back, and that's really important. So this is a great topic to bring up, and there's definitely more information out there that I look forward to learning about. So very good. Awesome. Well, any other questions, Allison, or any other questions for Enoa?
No,
Does
I don't
that
have
answer?
anything else.
Okay. Does that answer it pretty good? If you have any more questions, Allison, you can let me know too.
Okay.
Okay, but no, that's fine. I think some sort of educational information is good. Okay, well, let's see here. We did intake form stuff, taking food home, round robin. Let's go to, quickly, Carmen, do you have anything to add? I think you're on mute.
There we
You're
go.
good. You're good.
We've had major technical issues
That's
today in
okay.
the office. No, I really don't have anything to add. I'm sorry I was late to the meeting. It's been kind of one of those weeks, and it's only
That's
Wednesday.
okay.
Thank goodness we have the rest of the week off. Um, I am currently doing a presentation to everyone on hidden sugars.
Oh, very good.
And I did something that I probably shouldn't have done, but I tried to get all 14 centers done in 1 month, and that was a little bit trying. So I met myself kind of coming and going. What I did was I ordered some brochures off of one of the publications that we get on hidden sugars, the positives and the negatives or something like that. And then I went out and purchased all kinds of items. And it's kind of like I put sugar cubes under each one with a cap over it, and we talk about each item because I bought items that most people use in their home, going from a can of soup to milk to bought in cookies, and then to little orange juice and apple juice and how much actual sugars are in those when you drink the whole one. Talked a little bit about natural sugars. It has been very well received throughout.
Oh, great.
People are just eating it up. And so that's one of our nutritional programs that we're doing now. We'll go into the spring with a nutritional program probably on, they talked about proteins, we've talked about fats, and we've talked about carbohydrates. So I just need to come up with one. But anybody who wants to see the brochure or whatever, just reach out to me. I'll be glad to share one with you or send it to you in the mail. And like I said, I can take a picture of what the presentation looked like. It's very simple. It lasts about a half an hour, and it's pretty amazing. So anyway, other than that, numbers are still maintaining in southeast Nebraska. And so far we've had decent weather, so that's even better.
Hey, that's great. Yeah.
The one thing we do have up and going, I think, since the last time is we have our new tray sealers that are in the office. We have we have four of them. Two of them are one's in Beatrice and one is in Fairbury. They help tremendously with our weekend meals. We take any leftovers that we might have. Any leftovers we might have from a daily meal, we put those in, we freeze them, we label them. And then like for today where we needed extra meals for different people, we pulled those frozen meals out for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, put the milk, the bread, and fruit in another bag, and it made it so much simpler and very easy. Plus, it's a great way to use up leftovers, and then they have a little bit more variety, a little easier on that. So those happen to be working amazingly well. So that's about all I have.
That's awesome. Oh, very good. That's great news. And that's really cool to hear about the sugar presentation. That is so important. I remember doing one of those in Texas when I did my dietetic internship, and like people were just so shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy. It's amazing. But no, that's excellent. Thank you so much.
Did you hear Cheryl yelling?
I hear, yeah. Hey, okay, we have 1 minute, but I'm going to take 1 minute because I promised Erica Weebles that I would present this to you real quick. So let me just go ahead and show you this for 1 minute because I need to get back to her on this. So I'm going to share my screen, okay? So bear with me, and then we all can go be done for the weekend. Okay, can you guys see this? All right, I'll take this, yes. Okay, so basically how this works is you click on this. This is called Walk to Unlock, okay? I'm gonna send you all the link, and what this is, it's a really simple way to do physical activities in your senior center. They worked with kids, they've been working with kids, and now they want to expand to work sites and to older adults. And so this would be a really cool way for teams at senior centers and stuff like that to do a fun walking adventure where basically you log your miles and you plug them into the computer and it shows how far you walked. You log in here, you come up with the team name, and then what you do is you can pick a map. So like, let's say you live in the Northeast area, or let's say you live in the eastern part or the central part or wherever. So like Carmen, like down here in the southern jog, you can go from, here, or actually I think the eastern sprint starts from, I think Beatrice, and goes all the way up north. So you pick basically a path, you create a team, and then you can have up to 10 people on your team, and then you log the miles, and then basically you follow your path. And there's also some really cool things on here that talk about the different areas of Nebraska that people live in. And there's stuff like historical markers and events, and there's pictures, and people can contribute pictures. So like, let's say you lived out in the Panhandle, and I think you can actually send in pictures and stuff like that of that area where that path goes through. So like you have Burlington Locomotive, you've got the Horse Creek Treaty, different events that happened in history. Here's Toadstool, here's Bordeaux Trading Post, Shattern State Park, all sorts of fun stuff. Mary Sandoz site, all these different cool places that you can pick. It looked like a really cool opportunity. It's free, and so I will send out some information on this, and then if you could, just for the sake of maybe giving this a go, could you just take a look at it and see what you think, and just let me know if any of you would be interested in doing something like this. The nice thing about it, it is free. So and you can develop teams and people can walk and become healthier. So that's that. Okay, I told you I would be short on that. But I will send you the link to that as far as and some other resources as well. So, okay. Any questions? All right. Well, I know this has been a very full meeting. I thank you all very, very much for bringing all of your questions ahead of time. Thank you, Kayla. And also thank you, Allison, for the wonderful questions. And I'm glad we had a good conversation on that. If you have any more questions or whatnot, reach out to me. Let me know. Be happy to talk you through anything. If you want to add more questions on to the December coordinators meeting, let's do it. Keep the conversation going. I hope you all have a very safe Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe, get to where you're going alive, and enjoy fellowship and good food. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop the recording.
Thanks all.
Happy Thanksgiving.